Hello there everybody, this is Krista and welcome back to Crochet Witch Tarot. And today we are doing a little bit of a slight VR to Sarah from Tangy Tarot, who did, oh my gosh, maybe a few months ago now, a video all about their decks without people. And so I just really like the idea. I saw someone else did a VR and I just didn't even think, like, I could do a VR to whatever I want, even if it's not a tag. I forget these things. Anyway, so I have changed it up a little bit because I love decks that don't have like human figures in it, even like any sort of human-like figures in it. So I've got a lot of them. So I decided today we are going to show my top 10 instead. Now this is in no particular order, but I picked 10 of my decks without people to show today. Just thought it'd be fun. And then probably I'll do another video showing my top 10 decks with people or people-like figures. So let's just get started. First and foremost, we have the Meraki Tarot. This is what I think of as like my magical nature deck. I really, really love using tarot to connect with nature, to commune with nature spirits, so to speak. And this feels like it does so in a very like divine realm kind of way. There's other decks in this pile that of course are animal decks because I love those. That feel a bit more down to earth, but this one feels kind of like up in the ether, which you can see there's animals floating and there's crystals. They've got crowns on, you know? So it's not like a realistic animal tarot, but it's magical and I love it. It feels magical, but not in this storybook way, which of course I love as well, but there's a time and place for that for me. This sort of serves to remind me of just the magic in nature and how I like to envision that and see it. Like, yes, I want to think there's sparkles floating in the air all the time. That animals can exist this way. Because why not? It's fabulous. I love this one. I really do. I do recommend, if you have this tarot and don't have the full-size guidebook. I didn't at first, and it's worth it. It's worth the money to have the full-size guidebook. So that is the Meraki Tarot. Next up is the Flora Tarot. Now this has human figures in 2 of the cards, but I'm not counting that because the tarot structure is all about the plants. So it is entirely a plant deck. I really, really love this one when I want to get into that just general plant life energy. Now this is one that does feel a bit more grounded in reality to me. Not to say that magic can't be reality, but you know what I mean. Because we really just have these black and white, I love this, black and white illustrations of different plants. So it feels very like textbook to me in the best kind of way. Like when I'm using this deck, it feels like I'm going through like a really smart witch's grimoire all about plants. And the guidebook is really cool too. I have the PDF version. And it kind of goes, if it's, you know, aligns, it goes through a bit of folklore behind the plant, the name. It gives a lot of good information. I really enjoy this one. Even if it's just pulling out, like looking through the plants, if I'm wanting to work with a certain flower or plant and it's in this deck, even working with it that way is really, really cool. And sometimes I have lately been enjoying a monochromatic or black and white deck moment. I have been. Which is a reason I almost let this deck go at one point, which, thank goodness, I did not, because I've really been enjoying it. So, that is the Flora Tarot. Oh my gosh, my background. I'm hoping in editing I can like crop this, maybe you won't even see. You won't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's just a little bit not wide enough. I got, here's behind the scenes info. What would you call this? Scrapbook paper. Like those packs of cardstock at Joann's today, because I was like, that would be so fun as a background, but it's just a little bit too narrow. So I'm hoping maybe I could just, I don't know, we'll find out, you'll find out. Next up, Soul Cats. Oh my gosh, I need to not move it though. Okay, love this deck. I love it. This was actually a repurchase for me. I know. What was I thinking? I don't know. We all went through that time, didn't we? We did. It's okay. We're beyond it. So I bought this deck initially because Adam Ohlers, don't we, like, his artwork is so amazing. But even then, I kind of like went back and forth on it because I had never really clicked with a cat tarot because of the cat tarot. That's always the one I used. And every other cat deck I ended up rehoming. And at one point I did rehome this, but I got it back when Stevie was going through her kidney issues and had to stay overnight at the kitty hospital for, it was almost a week. Honestly, this was a comfort buy because, like, of course, I spent days just thinking about her and pulling cards from the cat tarot, which is really like her tarot deck now. So I wanted a cat deck for me, and I just wanted this one back, and so I did. And now I really do see it in a whole new way. So I think sometimes maybe decks are meant to leave and come back. I try not to do that so much anymore. Now I more try to see it as they are meant to be put away elsewhere and then brought back out. But it's okay. Anyways, this is magical cats. They're magical cats. So it feels like a whole fantasy realm of its own instead of that true cat energy, and I love it. I use this one all the time. I love that Emperor. It's so good. And the guidebook by Lisa Robertson is really, really amazing. So very happy to have this one back. That is the Soul Cats Tarot. All right, now probably one of the most grounded in reality non-people decks I have to show today is the Brady Tarot. I've been loving this one. It's so good. I've mostly been using it for my readings to go along with Tegan at Cosmic Creeper, her Animal Gnosis that she does through her Patreon. And just really thoroughly enjoying that practice with this deck. And I have used it beyond that, and it's so good. It's so good. I really love everything about this deck. Even the thick rose petal-y cardstock. I don't know, there's something about it. I like the experience. It feels a little bit slower and like I'm really getting into each animal on the cards here, and it feels very, like I said, like grounded in the reality of nature. I really love the keywords as well. It's so good. It's so good. Look at that. I love the artwork as well. The guidebook's amazing. I just find it really interesting and always have such thought-provoking readings from this one. So, that is the Brady Tarot. Gosh, I guess we should have known this was going to be a lot of animal decks, huh? I'm interested to see. I haven't really thought about the 10 decks with people yet, so I'm interested to see what comes out of that. But let's do a real non-surprise here. The Northern Animal Tarot. This is the 3rd edition. Yeah. What do I have to say about this at this point? As I just continually rave about it for the rest of ever. I love this deck. It feels like if I were, I don't know how I feel about the thought of like soul decks. I don't really prescribe to that idea, but if someone was like, pick one right now, you have to, I'd say Northern Animal. More so my 1st edition, just because I'm so bonded to it, but I love the colors in this copy, so that's why I always want to show this one. And it's fantastic. We still get a little, because they're anthropomorphic, so I guess we get a little bit of a people-y energy there. But not really, they're still animals, you know? My thought was, where I drew the boundary was, if I could, because there's some tarots I have that they're not people, they're just like, vaguely people-like, but how I viewed it was, if I can see myself real easy in their position, then to me then they counted as people. Where with the animal decks, it feels a little bit more like they are outside characters. I'm not putting myself into the story. And that's sort of the difference for me between using decks with people versus not, is a lot of the times when there's people, I put myself into the story, and that's how I read the cards with that deck. Where if it does not involve people, then I tend to see it as a scene going on outside of myself. If that makes any sort of sense, I don't know. But I think it does in my head. So that's a difference there, which is real. There's totally a time and place for both, and I kind of like knowing that about my special little brain. So that is the Northern Animal. Can't say enough good things. Love it. All right, next, the Forager's Daughter. This is, so Andy and I are still doing our kind of deck bonding thing together, and we just ended our time with the Forager's Daughter, and it was so good. I love it. Let me know if you would like to see a whole video like I did for when we worked with the She-Wolf. Definitely let me know. We did She-Wolf, and then we did the Meraki Tarot, which I wanted to make a video on, but gosh, there's so much with that deck, isn't there? It's like I almost have to continually wrap my head around it. Sorry, I'm looking out the window. I just realized that my grapevine leaves are really starting to turn yellow. Fall is upon us. The world begins to decay. Anyways, then we did Forager's Daughter. Loved it. I love this deck. I think each card is so fantastic. We get so many symbols. There's plants and animals and crystals sometimes, and it just, the guidebook's fantastic. It's one of those where it's a pricey deck for sure, but it's one of those ones where it's like, I see exactly where that money went. The quality is there. The content is there. I really, really love this one. I'm glad we did that practice with this deck because I feel even more bonded to it now. And to me, it almost feels like an in-between between the Brady Tarot and the Meraki, where the Meraki to me is like very, very like not realistic. Brady Tarot is very realistic. This like finds a cool place in between that I find so fun and interesting. So that is the Forager's Daughter Tarot. Surprise, no surprise. Oak, Ash and Thorn. I had to include one of these. I have this, and I do have Smoke, Ash, and Embers. Of the two, this one probably gets the most use, but if I'm being real, it's probably because the Oak, Ash, and Thorn has that mini now that, oh my gosh, look at that I am obsessed with. And so I'm hoping that Three Trees Tarot eventually comes out with a mini of the Smoke, Ash, and Embers. But I do love the full-size decks. I haven't brought this out in quite some time, and seeing the art full-size is so great. But this tarot I really, really love. It feels like it just hits close to home for me. I can picture all of these scenes happening right outside my windows, my house. And I love it. There's something about this deck that is so cozy and magical feeling. I think that's what I love most about it, is I feel like I don't put myself into the characters like I would with a deck with people in it, but this deck really brings me into the world. It feels like it does a good job world building, which is usually kind of, you know, it's a term that we hear when it comes to stories and books, but I do feel like artwork can do that as well, especially when we're looking at it in terms of a tarot, because we're getting multiple pieces of art basically in a little cardboard box. Ooh, that's interesting. I've never really thought about it that way. Like each deck is really just a collection of someone's art. You get there a little mini oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to think on that. That's interesting. Anyways, yeah, I really feel brought into this world, which is so much fun. It really has the same effect of like a really fun fall cozy witchy read to me. It's a classic. Gotta love that one. Okay, Oak, Ash, and Thorn. Amazing. All right, we've got 3 more. Did I count right here? I did. Okay. 10 doesn't feel like a lot when you're picking, but when you're talking through them, it starts to. Next, the Walking Meditation Tarot, another absolute favorite. I haven't brought this out in a while. This deck it's all season. It shows all seasons, but for some reason, it just got stuck in my head as a fall deck. I don't know if it's just, maybe it shows a lot of fall cards, but no, that's not true, because then look at this. I think it's truly because I received it last fall. But I love this one. This one is very, like, grounded in the real world to me, which I really love it for. It feels like just going out into my own backyard or on a hike or something and just viewing the landscape. And I really do love the symbols of the minor arcana inserted into each picture, because it almost creates this ability is not the right word. It plants the seed in my head of when I'm outside kind of viewing tarot in real life, like when Thea and Candy did that amazing Garden Arcana series where they went out into their gardens and found the different cards out in the garden. I feel like when I was thinking about that for my own garden, it's like I was seeing the certain symbols, like this deck does it, over the image I was looking at. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Besides the point, I really love this one. It's very forces of nature-esque. And it's fantastic. Ooh, I gotta have this one out again. I gotta start using this. Challenge myself to use it all seasons, even though we're kind of getting into fall now, but regardless. That is the Walking Meditation Tarot. Okay, next up, the Whispering Spirits deck. So this is actually probably, oh my gosh, this is the first one I have that isn't like animals or nature themed. Who would have think? But these really don't feel like human figures at all to me. I mean, and they don't look it. But I don't put myself into these characters. They more feel like little guides along with me. I see these actually as very close to, this is by Joanna Nelson, if, you know, anyone didn't know. She has the Little Bug Oracle out as well, which are the little bugs from the Mons Tarot. But for some reason, the Whispering Spirits, even though these are not bugs, they're supposed to be these spirit creatures, I put them in my brain as bugs as well. Little bug people. But I love this one. It's so good. The artwork makes me so happy. I love all the primary colors going on. Not even primary colors, it's just like the way that they're painted. With the sharp lines around. It feels crisp. That's the word I'm always looking for. It feels crisp in just a satisfying way. But yes, I love using this one, especially when my brain is feeling real jumbled, when I'm feeling overstimulated. This is a really good deck for that, because they feel like these quiet little creatures who are just saying, like, it's alright. It's gonna be okay. Let's relax, lady. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. So that is the Whispering Spirits Tarot. Which brings us to our last deck, and I'm blanking on the name. Nope, I got it. Just had to say that sentence, and it came right back to me. Just to say, just kidding, Krista, tricked you. You thought you couldn't conjure it up, but you did. Anyway. The Silver Acorn Tarot. Oh, I will never not be excited about this deck. It is everything. I feel like we're getting into the season that it's just exactly right for. It feels like a cozy fall deck. We've got animals again, but very like cartoon-like animals. The cardstock on this is so perfect. It's thin, really thin linen. Oh, it just shuffles so amazingly. We got these pumpkin people, vegetable people, animal people. This deck really reminds me of Over the Garden Wall. I think it's because of the pumpkin people. But it's like a mix of Over the Garden Wall and the show Owl House. That's just what it makes me think of. And I love both of those shows. They're so fun for the fall time. I love the art. I love the colors in this as well. It's another one that feels really crisp. It's the best way I have to put it. Look at the skeleton mer people. Like, are you kidding? It's so much fun. I've been seriously loving this one since I got it a few months ago now. Amazing. Oh, I just wanna... Even that. Like, even that just looks so pretty, even though it's so, like, basic Three of Swords. Oh, look at that, lovers. We're gonna keep going. I can't... Look at the witchy cats. Oh my gosh, it's so good. A frog hierophant? Yes. Amazing. It's so good. So, that is the last deck I have to show you today, and that is the Silver Acorn Tarot. So those are my top 10, as of right now, decks that do not have people or people like figures. Let me know what your favorite is down below. I'd love to hear. And other than that, that's all I got for you. So, I hope you're having a spectacular start to your week, and I'll see you again very soon.